Randy and I have some pretty exciting stuff coming up. Um, yeah, so like with the Girls Gone Squatching, that's our new group.
Mhm.
And it's, it's focused around not to exclude men. And I want to make that absolutely perfectly clear. We're not excluding anybody. We're just showcasing the abilities that women have in the field, with Sasquatch in particular, but also, nature and energy. So our first big camp out is going to be June 21st through the 23rd. And it's going to be me, Randy, and Michelle Caldwell. Um,
Mm.
and we are going to Mount Shasta.
Yeah,
I
that
want
is
to
super
kind of
exciting.
like focus on the energy points throughout the US. So we have some other places lined up too, like Sedona, Arizona is going to be a big one. But
Um,
Randy and I, when we camp out, we have awesome stuff happen, like energy wise with Sasquatch. It's really cool. It's fun.
awesome. What was the impetus for this whole Girls Gone Squatching group? Like, how did you come up with the idea?
Well, when I started out a couple of years ago, I've always been really interested in like the differences, because you hear the differences, like men, especially when you're taking reports, you notice the
Mm,
patterns. So there's patterns between the aggression and the softness and the different kinds of things that happen. Like say for instance, Jules, she's one of our group members. She had one night when she went out to go to the bathroom, she had what she thought was a female Sasquatch cooing in her ear. Like not, it
mm.
couldn't, she said it couldn't have been 5 feet away from her, but it was
Oh,
so
wow.
dark she couldn't see it. So you don't hear a lot of the like more gentle kind of experiences with men, because most of the ones, especially up here in Sweet Home that I get, are they can be quite aggressive, especially with the hunters or if they have
Yeah.
guns. So I noticed a pattern and I just started exploring it. And then I got this urge in my heart to do this. And finally, I just found the right people. They came to me, like Randy and Michelle and Jules. And I was like, okay, this is it. We got to make this happen.
I mean, that's such a great idea. And it's so true because at this point I've interviewed, people like us, kind of like energy, kind of hippie ladies. And then I've interviewed a bunch of like hunters and
Mhm.
manly mans. And yeah, it's a big difference
It's a
in
different,
the interactions.
yeah.
And I don't even feel that it's like so much of a gender thing. I think it's just pure energy. Like, what are your intentions when you're going out there?
Yeah.
What's in your heart? You know,
Mhm.
like that's what I
Hmm.
feel anyway.
Yes, I've learned they do read our energy. They do. They know when you're in a happy
Absolutely.
place, when you're in a sad place, when you're frustrated. I believe
Mhm.
they know all of that. So I think if you're nervous, they might hold back a little bit. But if you're out there and you give off that vibe, like you want to communicate, you're there to get to know them, you're open, I feel like everything flows so much better because they feel
Uh,
our energy and
Yeah, we
yeah,
go out there with
Yeah.
yeah.
intent too, you know? Like we set
Oh,
our intentions before we even go out, like we're already trying to let them know, hey, we're on our way. This is what we are, these are our intentions. We're not making any expectations,
Yeah.
but we really want you to, interact with us.
hmm. I've noticed a difference between even people who go out, like me, I don't like to use any technology when I go out there if I can help it. I don't bring a camera, I don't bring a recorder, I don't bring anything. I just want to have the experience. I don't My focus is not quite so much to record it and to document it and everything. And I've talked to some people who they're big into like the trail cams and, the infrared stuff. And even then it's like very different interactions.
Yeah,
I would
totally.
say.
Yeah, we've had
Yeah.
experiences where, like, oh, Randy, when Randy and I were out, the first night, so Randy and I shared a tent because neither of us like to sleep by ourselves. So, so we're sharing a tent. And then Jules is in her rig, and then she has her friend Terry, who's also a female, and she was in her rig. And the first night, I heard something bipedal walking around the tent. And so I just assumed that it was one of the other ladies going to the bathroom in the middle of the night. It was about 2:00 in the morning. So the next day I asked Jules, I was like, hey, did you guys get out and go to the bathroom last night? She's like, no. And I was like, okay. She's like, yeah, we stayed in our tent or in our rigs all night. And I was like, okay. So the next night, Randy, what happened?
The next night, because I don't sleep all that great, I have a tendency to wake up in the witching hour. That's me. 3 a.m., 2 a.m., 4 a.m. And of course, camping didn't change that. I woke up in like the 3 a.m. hour and I heard bipedal footsteps walking. It sounded like it was coming from like right behind our tent. We had like a potty tent close to our tent, and it sounded like it was walking from behind our tent, the potty tent, towards another researcher's tent. That's what it sounded like. And it just kind of sounded like it was walking around, like it was looking, maybe just checking our stuff out that we left out in camp. You know how you have tables set up and you got lanterns, pots and pans, whatever out. That's what it sounded like. And I thought, oh, okay, we got some company. I could hear that, but it didn't scare me. I didn't feel threatened. I ended up just going back to sleep. It was pretty awesome. I was like, hello, thanks for visiting.
Yeah.
So
and then
That's cool.
so that next morning, I think, wasn't it? Didn't you say Jules and you were talking, and Jules had said that at some point during the night she had sat up in the back of her Forerunner and she looked over towards
Yeah.
our tent and she saw something tall and like bipedal. And so instantly she laid back down and covered her head with her blanket.
Yeah.
Which I don't blame her.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's,
I was making her coffee when we were having that chat. And
Mhm.
she's like, so did you see or hear anything last night by any chance? And I'm like, well, that's interesting because I didn't see anything because I was in the tent, but I did hear something. I heard footsteps. It was like something was walking around just checking things out last night, bipedal footsteps.
Mhm.
And I'm like, why? And that's when she told me, she's like, I don't know. I woke up out of my sleep. I look out my car window and I see something walk by and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was like validation right there,
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Absolutely.
And it's
Yeah.
pretty cool
Um,
because behind our tent there too, is like a structure, and you can tell it's all these like I would say like baby trees. They're probably like that big around, but they're really
Yeah.
tall. They're like what at 15 feet tall or something.
Yeah, maybe
And
15 feet, young trees,
yeah, but they're all they were constructed in a way that it looks like a teepee, but around these 3 other trees that are, substantial trees that are connected to the ground. And so we saw that when we first showed up and we're like, okay, well, what is this? Obviously, it's something somebody built. So I got in the middle of it and I stood in the middle of it with my hands on the trees. And instantly, like you could just feel the energy through your body. It was like you turned
Yep.
a switch
Yep.
on,
Yeah.
And I was like, oh
Yeah.
my God, Randy, you got to feel this.
Yeah. I
That's
can't,
cool.
I was standing there. I ended up putting my hands on each tree and I just closed my eyes, Gina. And I was like, whoa, instantly. It was instant. And I'm like, Michelle, do you feel that? Do you feel that? Oh my gosh. I could feel waves of energy while we were standing amongst
Yeah.
these trees. It was pretty crazy. And that happened
That's
just right after we set up camp. We were only there maybe an hour and we had that X behind our camp. And then those trees, like what you were just talking about. Oh my God, the energy was phenomenal. It was pretty cool.
wow.
And that's the spot where Chambia had told me to camp. Like when I saw him up here or whatever, like that was the general location. And I felt like, okay, that was a sign. This is where I can camp. This is safe,
Okay. Who's Chambia?
Oh, that's my Sasquatch daddy.
Okay. Your guardian,
My
your
guardian. Yeah,
guide.
that's my guardian.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. I've felt structures that were made around my neighborhood out of trees that weren't alive, and I felt like a I don't know, not so much. There's a difference, I'm sure, between like live trees and dead ones. I felt their energy, but I haven't felt like a current of energy. But I interviewed Holly Burns. She's like an incredible psychic. She was on the Pork and Beans show a while ago. She's friends with Brian. And I did an interview with her, and she said that because she's got a really good connection with the Sasquatch people. She says that a large part of why they make the structures is to like calibrate the energies of the forest to try to like adjust, like correct the energies. So that makes perfect sense. If they make some sort of like vortex or, some sort of portal or something out of live trees, you're totally going to feel it. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It was pretty strong.
We've
Yeah.
been finding a lot of them recently, like new ones, because last year there's just so many of them. And I have also realized too that some of them they tear down, but a lot of these ones that I have found within the past 2 or 3 years, they keep adding to them. So I'm documenting.
Probably adjusting.
Yeah, I'm documenting all of it because that's part of it. And you were talking about like documenting. That's part of the research, of trying to understand them and communicate with them. Because ultimately, I mean, that's one of my main goals is to be able to really communicate with them. I don't have the telepathy abilities that some of the other ladies have that, like Randy, she's really, really good at it. But I feel and I see a lot of stuff. So I go with my gut feeling as far as the feeling of the energy goes all the time,
Oh yeah.
and it's really important to document.
I get it. I get that. Like I take pictures of prints and structures and stuff. I just like, for me personally, like last night I found recently a new spot that it's a little bit farther out. It's about 20 minutes away from my house, but we found this new spot that they like to stay at, and there's like a new group that came into my area, and that's where they like to hang out. So I went over there last night for the first time, and I don't know. Some people film the orbs and stuff, and I just, for some reason, I feel like it's such a personal experience between me and them. I don't know. I just haven't been able.
Yeah, that's for you.
But,
That's yours.
But that's not my role. I'm not like a
You're not a
researcher.
messenger. Yeah.
Nah. Well, maybe in this format.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely.
But I do take pictures of like all the stuff that they, like when they eat apples and then they'll take like a bite out of the apple and leave the rest in the tree. I love taking pictures of that stuff, but I don't know why. I do just feel like it's a really, I don't know. Like I start crying and stuff because the energy is so intense sometimes. And I just feel like it's such a like emotional kind of communion. Maybe I'll change my mind eventually, but
yeah, totally.
Yeah. Photos is something I take a lot of because I like to have it documented, and I've had glyphs change on me. So it's cool when you take a picture of a glyph that you find at your area, and then you find out, you get the mind speak, go look again, and it has changed, like literally feet from you. And you're like, oh my God, how did you do that? How did you change that? I was standing right there. It's pretty cool. And then to see the before and after.
Have you guys ever taken photos and gotten like astral images of them in the trees, and then they're like, you look at the picture and then they're like, look again, and then it disappears?
No.
I've had
Really?
that happen. Yeah, where I've taken pictures of them, caught them on camera just by accident, and then like a year later I didn't see them in there anymore. Or I'm looking at a direction, like up in the trees. I remember I felt led to look up in the trees one day, and something told me just take a picture, and I did. I didn't see anything with my eyes, but when I looked at the photo a little while later, there was this teal, beautiful colored orb, and a young female Sasquatch to the right of this orb in the trees. It's a really good picture. I'll have to show it to you sometime,
That's
Gina.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They're
They're amazing.
I was out in the woods. This was a couple of years ago, and I was just taking pictures of the dogs. And I came home and I was looking at these pictures, and I got the nudge, like, look at this picture closer. And I was looking in the tree line, and I see this. It's exactly how I described. Like, it's an astral image, like a smoky sort of silhouette of like a giant guy who looks like King Kong, basically, like a giant gorilla looking dude. And he's looking at the dogs, and the dogs are looking at him. And it was like, oh my God, I can't believe this. And
Wow.
I sent it to a couple of friends. And then about a week later, I looked again, and the image disappeared. And it disappeared on all of
Wow.
theirs too. And they all saw it. So I
Yeah.
asked in my mind, I was like, why did you guys do that? And I just got back just to show you we could. So I think,
That sounds like them.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Very to the
yeah.
point. That sounds just like them.
I think they were just showing me
Yeah,
that they
I've
can
had that
they can
happen
do
in some of
stuff.
my photos.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's crazy. They're just amazing, aren't they?
Yeah. It's how did this all start for you guys? Do you wanna start first, Randy, and tell me kind of how did this all begin for you?
My journey with the Sasquatch? Is
Mhm.
that what you're wondering? Okay.
Correct.
All right. So my journey with the Sasquatch, it wasn't me going out looking for them. It was more like they came into my life. I came home from work one day, got my dog and said, "Come on, Zoe, we're gonna get out in nature." And we went to my local nature park here, which is full of pine trees and just all kinds of beautiful trees. And we started walking. And when I got there, I had this thought in my head of a stick. I wanted a particular stick for a DIY project. And within minutes, it was just like sitting on like a stump, like waiting for me, just sitting there. Or maybe,
Mm,
yeah, it was a stump, not a rock. It was a stump. And it was just waiting for me. And I'm like, well, that's interesting. That's the exact same stick that I just had in my mind's eye. And it's like it's been placed there for me. So I was kind of tripping out over that. Well, shortly right after that, I'm walking with my dog, and out of the blue, I heard, "What would you do?" There was the telepathy, mind speak. "What would you do if you saw a Sasquatch?" And I was like, "What?" You know, I'm like, "What? What would you do?" The question again, if you saw a Sasquatch. And I said, "Well, I would say hello and I would wave." And suddenly, right behind me, bap, bap, bap. I got some loud knocks. Me and my dog Zoe zip around and look behind us, and I'm like, "Did you hear that? What was that?"
Mhm.
So they mind spoke me, and then I got the knocks. I guess they liked my response. Well, I would say hello and wave. And then it wasn't maybe 15 minutes later, I'm walking along, and my situation was woo from the beginning, Gina.
mm,
It was
me too.
woo. I ended up meeting someone. I find out later that this man with him and talk with him. We walked. I noticed he was different. I noticed he walked differently, the way his arms swayed differently. It was very interesting that he made sure that I saw his water bottle that had a Sasquatch on it. And he's like, "Do you see this? What is
Mm,
this?" And I go, "Well, that's a Sasquatch sticker." And he goes, "Yeah, what do you think of that?" And I was like, "That's cool." But I meet this man that's very childlike. He's so excited to meet my dog and the other dogs that were walking by. I actually let my dog go meet him. I took her over there. And I don't ever do that. I'll just walk my dog up to people and say, "Do you want to pet my dog?" But I did with this man. I remember he had very tan skin and thick white hair, even though he was older, that,
mm,
kind of went back. And when he walked with his hands on the side, like a Sasquatch would, kind of slumped over a little bit, very wise. And we walked and we talked for a little while until I ended up going home. There's more to the story. I don't know how much of it you want me to get into, but we talked about all kinds of cool stuff, like dogs and cats, and then rocks. He asked me if I noticed that there were painted rocks around there, and I said, "Yes. Here we're talking about dogs and cats." He goes, "Oh, look at that." And there's a rock. He picks up a rock that has a dog and a cat, right? Just what we were talking about. There were so many things happening. It was crazy. I did not know who I was talking to. I had no idea. And then I get home, I send a message to my dear friend and brother, Mike Bodowitz. Do you know who Mike is?
oh yeah.
Michael
Hmm.
Bodowitz? Okay,
Yep.
well, he wrote the book, the Book of Elders. He's been communicating with Sasquatch for a very long time. And I told him, I'm like, I had this really cool encounter, this with this man, and he showed me his bottle. I just thought it was a man, Gina. It was not a man. He contacts me back a short while later and says, "Oh my God, Randy, congratulations. You had what I call first contact." And I'm all, "What? That was a man." He goes, "That was not a man." He goes, "Sasquatch can transform into animals and human beings. He's been watching you for a while. He absolutely loved your energy. He's known you for a while. And he decided he wanted to meet you in person." He goes, "Feel very blessed because that doesn't happen very often. You literally walked with him." And I go, "Yes, I did for like a while." So he told me a little bit about him. He said his name was Bento, that I could call him B or Bento, and I chose to call him Bento. And he's an elder Sasquatch, very tan skin, so he doesn't have hair on his face. It's just very tan skin. And he said he's an all-white Sasquatch with thick hair that went flowing back. And I'm like, oh my God, that man I met had very tan skin. I actually asked him, "Where are you from? You're so tan." And he told me Florida. That's the answer
That
he
is
gave me,
so
which was funny.
okay. No,
He
that
said, "I'm
makes
from Florida."
something about that makes sense. So I told you I was on the Bigfoot of America podcast last night with Brian Sawyer, and there was a man, I think his name was John Stewart, and he is from Florida, and that was his first sighting, was of a white Sasquatch with a red, like he said,
Whoa.
sunburnt looking face. Yeah. So
Wow. Oh my gosh.
maybe, who
That's
knows? Maybe it's the same. Maybe it's the same guy.
it. You never know. I mean, they can be wherever they want, right?
Yeah.
Definitely. I found out from Mike in another conversation not too long ago that me and Bento have had a life together. I don't know if I was a Sasquatch. I know that sounds crazy. If I was just a human and he knew me back then, but he's known me for a long time and he's just been waiting on me, I guess. But that's
Wow.
really interesting. And when Mike told me what he looked like, I just started laughing. I'm like, "Oh my God, this man was so tan that I asked him, 'Where are you from? You're really tan.'"
Yeah.
And the white, thick hair. I mean, this was an older man that has such white, thick hair and it went back, and I was just like, oh my gosh. And I have caught Bento's energy in one of my photos. And the clan, where the clan lives that I frequent on a regular basis, I've caught lots of them in my photos. And it's never because I'm trying to catch them. They're just in there, but he's a
They just show up.
sweetheart. He's a sweetheart elder. So that's
Maybe
how
I'll
it
try
all
to
started
connect with
for
him.
me. I was literally not out looking for them. So there it
Awesome.
is. And then I met Michelle and I'm on a research team and we got all kinds of fun plans and camping trips planned and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
taking
That's
it
so
from
cool.
there.
Randy's really gifted with energy. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Aw,
Well, why don't
thank
you,
you.
Michelle,
Are
you should
you?
tell me a little bit about yourself and your journey with the Sasquatch people.
Where do I start? From the beginning?
At the beginning, I guess. Yes.
Okay. So I've been having dreams about Sasquatch since I was about 5 years old. Um, and it's like a reoccurring dream. And when I was 19, my aunt took me to a psychic because I was having some problems with it, like trying to understand it and why. And it was kind of stressing. It was really stressing me out because it was scary. And so the psychic told me, she said, "Well, just tell him that he's scaring you and to stop scaring you." So I did. And so the dream kind of changed. And flash forward many, 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 many years, and I moved to Oregon, and it was just like all of a sudden I got pulled into this, like you're in the perfect spot for this, and this is what you need to do. I'd gone through my life, I lived my life, I filled my bucket list, before I had kids. I had Pema when I was 42. And I
Oh,
started,
wow.
yeah. So that's when I figured, okay, maybe it's time for me to revisit this and figure out if there's, a meaning or something behind it. So I did. And but it was really like people pulling me into it, like people would stop me, they'd flag me down because I have stickers on my car, and they'd be like, "Oh, I got to tell you my Bigfoot story," So started gathering information, and I started um, going to these places where there were reports, and just kind of doing research, I guess, just I was inquisitive. It turned into research,
Mm,
so the more experiences that I had, the more seriously obsessed I got with it,
mm,
and at one point, I mean, I was having some really good, like, substantial, tangible kind of experiences, but every once in a while I would get this kind of woo thing, like I would get pings. I would see them and they weren't really there. Like nobody else would see them, you know? I mean, they were
mhm.
there. I know what I saw. I didn't make it up in my head. Let's put it that way.
Right.
But I was the only one getting all this stuff. And then finally, during one of those, shortly after one of those experiences, I had gotten a ping and he had said, "I'm the one who's been protecting you your whole life. I'm the one from your dream." And I was like, oh my God. I went home and I cried and I was like, oh my God, this is so important, like, okay, so
Yeah.
I'm not just taking it in as like, this is just happening to me. I'm like, why is this happening to me? And who do I need to tell? Like, I need to talk to somebody about it. So I started reaching out to people like Barb Shoop and Arla Colette, Robin Haynes. I love Robin Haynes. Um,
She's I love how she calls everybody honey all the time. That
I
always
love her.
melts my heart.
Yeah, I know, right? And they're
Yeah.
just so
Oh, yeah, they're all great.
they're
Yeah.
so positive, but they're women who had started having experiences at a really young age. And
Mhm.
I thought these are people that I can connect with. And so they're all mentors to me. They might not know it, but they are. And I pay
Yeah.
attention and I listen to every word that they say.
I feel like they're aunties.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
I
You're
feel the
right.
same I
Yeah.
feel totally the same way. Very similar experience when I started having all of this stuff. I live in a very not populated part of the country, and I started having this stuff happen, and,
To
like,
say the least.
I yeah, and honestly, I just got on YouTube and I saw the Flash of Beauty paranormal Bigfoot documentary, and I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna reach out to all of these people and, start a podcast and just see what happens." Because like,
Mhm.
same as you, I didn't know why this was happening. I knew it was for a purpose. There was a reason.
Right.
But yeah, and then yeah, Arla, she was the first, person I interviewed. No, Robin. Robin was the very first. I think Arla was, like, the 3rd. But all these women who they're just amazing, and they're so full of wisdom and just so supportive too.
Very
They're just
supportive.
amazing.
That's one of the things
Yeah.
that I wanna stress too is, like, just how
Yeah.
supportive everybody is, and let's keep that momentum, you know what I mean? And let's
Yeah.
be inclusive with women, and just it's really I feel like there's a message and we might not have gotten it yet, but we're downloading it now, you know what I mean? And the
Mm.
more we communicate like this, like we communicate from the field and we go to on a podcast, and then you help spread the word, there's these messages that need to be like I know there you can't tell me there's not a million other children out there who have had dreams about Sasquatch, you know? And what does
Yeah.
that mean? Like, it's pivotal.
Mm, definitely. And the link between autism and telepathy and Sasquatch,
Mhm,
and I feel like there's all these puzzle pieces starting to come together, and
mhm.
the more people I talk to, like Christopher Noel, he's written several books about autism and telepathy, mind speak, and Sasquatch people. It's so fascinating, and I just want more,
Yeah,
really.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I do, I have a it runs in
Like,
it runs the ADHD runs in my family on the female side, And in order for you to have ADHD, if you're a female, then your mother and father has to have it, right? Every woman
Okay.
in my family, I swear, has ADHD. And just how important it is for us to listen to them because they have a lot of knowledge and a lot of wisdom, for sure. And I think that's another thing that bothers me about the community is that we have, in the community itself, you've got your apers and you have your wooers, right? It's okay
Mhm.
if we're friends, because there's a lot of wonderful things, knowledge to be shared. You know what I mean? And it's important for us to be open-minded and to listen to that because perhaps maybe that's one of the things that blocks people from having the quote unquote woo experience is because they're kind of blocking it out, you know?
Mm.
Like that doesn't
Yeah.
really happen. So they're not gonna, it's not gonna happen to them,
Right.
Right,
So,
or if they
Yeah.
have fear or they're having
right.
anxiety.
Yep.
I don't think the Sasquatch are gonna come in if you have some fear or anxiety going on because they're gonna pick up on that,
I think it's
I've
really
learned.
important
Yeah.
Mhm.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
Randy. Like when we have a research group, it's important for us to have not just a group of wooers, but a group like a good mixture of people
Mhm.
who research on different kinds of levels. So it's really important. One of the guys in my sweet home group, when he first started, he was I would say he's probably 99% aber. But he started having these
Yeah.
experiences that just could not be explained. And now he's like 50-50, like right down the line because he knows
Yeah.
he's had both now. Like me, like I've had both.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, s- both sides,
Mhm.
if you want to call it that, have so much knowledge, and instead of trash talking
Mhm.
or like discounting the other's experience, it would be beneficial, definitely, to more
Yeah.
share knowledge and experiences because yeah, I mean, when I first started out, I was like, "Oh, they're all beautiful, amazing beings and they're all multidimensional." And I feel like I was kind of not quite grounded with the whole thing for a little while, and I started talking to people who have had like legit scary experiences, and I'm like, "Oh, no. No. Not with my group's
Mhm.
not like that." Like
Right.
but it's like everyone's different. All beings are different, and there could be some groups of the forest people that don't want interactions with humans, and
You nailed it.
you know?
Nailed it.
Yeah, so yeah, we gotta
Mhm.
be open to all aspects of it.
Right.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Don't be afraid. Don't
So,
be
Yep.
afraid of it. We got to stop being afraid of the other side.
yeah. I was on that show last night, and I feel like the other people who were in the podcast were, on some level, okay with the whole multidimensional part of this, but, a couple of them had really scary, not great experiences, and so I came on and I was like, "Oh, love and light, and my all of my experiences have been amazing and heart cracking, and just like
Yeah.
I've learned so much about myself." And then another person would talk and they were like, "Yeah, it tried to eat my dog." And I'm like,
Right.
I'm like-
Oh my
and I'm just like, I can only share what I've experienced, really. And I
Yeah,
feel like
totally.
the different levels of
Mhm.
consciousness that we're at too
Mhm.
will kind of guide what kind of experience you're going to have. Like you said, if you come out there with like, I'm out here to hunt some possums energy, you're probably going to have a different interaction.
One thing I do want to
You know.
mention though is, we can raise our vibrations and we could be really high energy, but I am still terrified of cougars and bears. And
That's why I haven't gone camping yet.
I do not believe that if there's Sasquatch in the area, okay, they might save me or natural selection. They could just let it happen. I'm not going to count on Sasquatch
Right.
saving me from a freaking cougar.
No, don't count on saviors. Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, you gotta, I mean, like I said, I haven't gone camping yet either. And it's because I live in an area that has so much big predatory wildlife.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. And I don't have any other people who are really interested in this. So I have gone to cabins and stayed in cabins. And I would be interested in doing the car camping thing. But
I love
yeah,
car
I don't,
camping. I feel safe car camping.
Mm.
Michelle changed her position when we were camping back in March. She's like, I'm going to put my head on this side because
Yeah,
it
I
was
did.
under a canopy and she just felt safer.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
I thought, gosh, I should do that too because, we're right up against the forest. Maybe I should do that. But it was cold. It was in
Yeah.
March.
I
And
was afraid
like,
he was going to step on my
I'm gonna
head.
stay here.
Like
I'm
if
all
he I just didn't want my head exposed, like if he was like, oops, So I put my I
Yeah.
put
It's like
I
a
put
grape.
my head under the canopy so that, he would have to walk around the canopy.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, and that was the night when you switched over to,
Yep.
sleeping on the other side of the tent. That was the night that I heard the bipedal footsteps walking
Right.
around. That was that night, and I'm like, oh,
That's
it's right
awesome.
there, like to my
Yeah.
left.
Mm.
So I wonder if I would have
Mhm.
caught it as much if I would have went on the other. I don't know, but yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah.
I had this experience last summer, and it was like in between the summer solstice and all those eclipses we were having. It was this like really narrow, super crazy energy window.
Mhm.
And I was going out to the woods. I have this spot that's like 6 minutes away from my house, and I was going out there every night. And for the whole week prior, I had been having all of these thoughts about mountain lions, and like, wouldn't it be really scary if a mountain lion just kind of appeared out of nowhere and you're out there in the woods by yourself?
Yeah.
And I had never had a thought like
Mhm.
that before, but it just like kept popping up. And like one night I was driving out there, and it's like a really windy road, this tiny little road that uh straightens out and goes over this little bridge. Oh, it's like a wetland kind of area.
Mhm.
And I get to the straight part, and it's at night, my headlights are on. I have a nice new car that has good headlights finally. And so I'm driving, and it's like I see the headlights, and then all of a sudden I see this shape in the road, and the headlights hit it. But for the life of me, I still can't, I don't know what it was. It's almost like it kept flipping, like between
Hmm.
a mountain lion and a deer. It's like it got big and small. It's almost like it kept flipping. And
Wendigo?
Do
I
you
don't
think
know
you had a
what the F it
shapeshifter
was.
Sasquatch?
Yeah, like a Wendigo or a
Hmm.
skinwalker or something.
I don't know what it was. I was still trying to figure out what I was looking at. And then all of a sudden this big orb shoots out from like the driver's side window around, and it was like, oh, distraction. And I looked at the orb, and then I looked again, and it was gone. And I was like, oh my god, what the heck was that? And I have a lot of friends who are amazing psychics. No one's been able to tell me what it is. They're like, I don't know, I just see this shape flipping back and forth. And I'm like,
Mhm.
Did
yeah,
you have
it
an
was
inner
weird.
intuition? Like, did your gut tell you what you think it is? Like your inner knowing?
Something funky. That's all I get.
Something not normal.
I don't
Something
know. I
funky.
honestly don't know. And maybe like the orb was my Sasquatch buddies being like, hey, don't look at that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
Maybe
so
they were
cool.
just messing with me. I don't know.
We see orbs and stuff out here all the time in Sweet Home. In fact, Sweet Home is notorious for orb activity. I mean, the legend goes back 30 years or more, of
Mm,
reported orb activity, but I've seen them on many different scales. Like I've seen ones that were as big as like a small car, like a VW,
me too.
right?
With like a huge tail.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
yeah,
crazy.
weird. Yep, and I've
Mm-hmm.
seen them as small as, like, a volleyball or something. So,
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a correlation between, and that's, again, energy, There's a correlation between these orbs and the Sasquatch beings and, even, like, Dogman and all these other things that people are really starting to talk about now. I'm beginning to open my mind to the possibilities of there being other kinds of cryptids. I used to only be like, whatever, Sasquatch is real and everything else isn't. But now I'm
Yeah.
kind of like, hmm, you know, there could be some
Maybe
truth.
Loch Ness Monster is real.
Yeah.
I found out that I didn't know that dogmen could be in like your nature parks. But
Oh.
Right.
they are. I will tell you that if they're up in the mountains, if you have Sasquatch like I do in your nature parks in your cities,
Mhm.
there's dogman there. And I didn't know it, but I was talking with Robin Haynes, and
Mhm.
like Michelle was saying, she's absolutely a wonderful person.
She's
And
a
I
good
started
friend.
doing work
Yeah.
with her and on helping my abilities and communication with the Sasquatch using my telepathy and everything. And while we were chatting one day, she said, there's something you might want to know. It's nothing bad. And I go, what? She goes, there's a dog man there that hangs out with your clan. I'm like, there is?
Mm.
And she goes, yeah. Yeah, she didn't give me a name. I recently just got a name like right before I went to Arizona. It was like a couple of weeks ago. I heard, just call him Oscar. And I went, oh, okay. That's, the
That's
little,
cute.
I get mind speak. They just talk to me randomly. And I go, okay, Oscar, because I kept saying, I want to know his name. I'm tired of calling him Dog Man. I feel like
Mhm.
it's not
Mm.
very nice. I want to have a name for him. He's in a
Yeah.
couple of my photos and he's actually really cute. He's cute. He has a
Oh.
cute face. So I'm like, "Can I please put a name to the face, Oscar." So, but I've heard that there's some really mean ones out there that you want to run the other direction. There's some nice ones. And Robin told me, do not worry about him. He's nice. He could have gotten you a million times over. And he hasn't. And I go, that's true because I'll go sit in there by myself and I know I'm being watched. I could feel them around me. And they
Mhm.
could, when I go off the trail and I just hang out in the forest by myself in this nature park, could have got me anytime. And here I am, I'm still here. So he's a nice one. But
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think, Michelle, that you mentioned maybe there was one up in the research area.
Yeah, so I've been getting a feeling lately, and I've had some previous experiences where, um, we've seen, like, shadow people, but I don't know if they were shadow people, and then I keep hearing these, stories from different, like, indigenous people and stuff about how they have relationships with Sasquatch or they're protectors of Sasquatch, um, so I'm keeping my mind open. I'm not, shutting anything out or anything. So,
Mhm.
hearing about Dogman, in fact, living in Michigan, I would probably have agreed that I'd heard about Dogman before I heard about Sasquatch.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I honestly, I don't think I have anyway, any interactions with Dogman, but, I started doing a series with, Gwendolyn Guthrie, and
I love
she has
her.
had
Mhm.
yeah, she's great. She had a sighting of a dog man. I can't remember when, but, during one of the research outings that they were doing.
Mhm.
And one of our episodes, we interviewed my friend Megan Tina Jarrow, who's a very gifted medium. And Gwendolyn was like, "This was my experience." And I was like, "Hey, would you like to try to tap into the energy of Dogman and see if you get anything?" And she was like, "Sure, I can try." And what she got was that it was like very, very old, very, very primitive, lower survival
Mhm.
consciousness kind of, and it was neutral. It really was. It wasn't good, it wasn't bad. It eats and sleeps and lives. I think they're solitary, and
Mhm.
she got that they maybe were created and that they don't really reproduce. So maybe that's why everybody says dog man and not dog woman. But maybe there are. Maybe there are
Maybe, and
dog
maybe
ladies.
maybe
I
that's,
don't know.
another reason why we can't or why I personally haven't been able to connect with them too, because if they're created, then do they have a consciousness? You know what I mean?
I think they do to a certain extent, but like she said, it was like eat, sleep, survive.
Yeah,
That's
straight
basically
pretty straightforward.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
I gotta
Gwendolyn's so
So I
say,
think
I
gifted.
I learned they have families too, that the dogmen have families.
oh, they do?
So
Okay. Maybe it's different types.
yeah,
I don't know.
so
Maybe.
I went I went to before while Ashley was still living here in Portland, she and I met up at Mount Tabor. We
Yeah.
kept having all these crazy experiences happening to us. It was a lot of fun, but I had um I had a session with Robin Hayes later that evening, the same day. Anyways, Robin told me, she said, "Okay, we gotta hold on a second because there's something coming in that's wanting to talk, so we just gotta stop talking." And I go, "Okay." And she's like, "Okay, Randy," she said, "there's a dog man coming through right now, and his name was Ayala, I believe." She told me his name. His name is Ayala. He wants me to tell you that he's 26 years old, and that his dad lives there with him on Mount Tabor, and his name is Ayala Hum, I believe it was, and he was like
Hmm.
62 or something. He actually gave ages, and that's
Oh,
his
wow.
father.
Hmm.
So I was like, oh, okay, so they must be in families if he has a father. But he was really
Right.
nice. He said that he was just following us around, watching us. Apparently, Ashley and I had like 3 Sasquatches hanging out with us all day. That's why we kept having these little
Yeah.
crazy things happening that were making us laugh. We're like, what's going on? But that's why I think they do have families. Like maybe they do reproduce because he said he had a father. I just wanted to
Yeah.
kind of put that out there,
Uh,
you know?
Again, I mean, it's so important to listen to everybody's stories because this is
Yeah.
why, they're so conflicting and, it's like pieces of a puzzle, like William Morris would say,
Right.
it's all
Yeah.
pieces of a puzzle.
I went to
Yeah.
Mount Tabor with Ashley in last October, and we had a crazy time too. It was right after a lot of the structures got destroyed by the parks people, and we kept having these like giant rocks show up for us. I actually took one home. I boxed it up and took one home. It was like a big quartz. And I've heard that there is a key inside of it, like an energetic key to open portals. So I'm excited to work with it whenever it is aligned. But yeah, that time that I walked around with Ashley, we walked around the park for a bit and did our thing, and then I had to go, and she was walking around with another friend, and that's when they found that basket. Have you seen the basket that they wove for her?
Yeah, I think so.
I saw it. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
really.
know, they're so cool.
They,
Um
they're gifters, the Sasquatch.
Mhm.
Look at this
Yeah.
this huge chunk of selenite.
Wow.
Isn't that
That's
cool?
amazing.
It is.
Where'd you get that?
My aunt gave it to me the last time I was in Michigan. That's why I brought it out because I was like, "Hey, this is from Michigan." There's
Yay.
there's my grandma right there.
Hi, Grams. Aw.
And
Hi,
that's my great grandma.
Oh, wow.
I look just like both of them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can kinda see it
She
from here.
does.
I
She,
had to bring some
she
of
looks
that.
like her grandma 100%.
I had to bring some ancestral magic into the mix here.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah.
There was something I was wanting to mention, if that's okay.
Of
Um,
course.
when when Michelle invited me to come research her area with her, which I feel very blessed. Thank
Mhm.
you. It's such a beautiful location, by the way. It's absolutely gorgeous. The energy there is amazing. It
Mhm.
was so amazing that when I was driving up my car to head up the mountain to where we were camping, I just started singing. Like I was
Oh,
singing with my
wow.
windows down. I was singing to the Sasquatch. I was making up songs and just singing
it's
all
a
the way up
magical
there to
place.
camp. And then me and Michelle started singing while we were at camp. We just kept belting out these
Yeah.
random tunes because the energy is so good. But
Mhm.
before I went up there, Gina, because they know Michelle, but they didn't know me. And
Mm.
so, um, Michelle and Robin Haynes both suggested, maybe talk to them. So I
Mhm.
did. I would tap in, I'd hold a crystal in my hand here at home, and I just say, I would just call out to them and introduce myself and just say, I'm gonna be camping there with Michelle, and this is who I am. I love the Sasquatch people. I'm there to get to know you guys, socialize if you'd like to, and just be in your beautiful home and in your beautiful energy. If you want to communicate, I'm open. If not, that's okay too. So I
Mhm.
set the intention before I even got there, to let them know, hey, I'm coming in. And I heard we welcome you. But I also
Aw.
heard we will also be watching,
Mhm.
watching and observing. And I said, okay, that's what I would do too if I were you guys. So,
And that's
and
exactly
that's
what they
exactly what
did.
Robin had mentioned. What?
I said that's exactly what they did. They just observed us. We could we could feel their energy. Like Randy and I could feel their energy, but we never saw them. We never had any interactions with them aside from when they
Mm.
were walking around the tent. Yeah.
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 We never saw them, but we did capture them in like some photos, like when we took photos of the mountain across from us. I have like
Mm.
a huge face in one of my photos. And I'm like, oh, there you are. I knew you were there. I'm like, I knew you were there. And I brought my Native American flute with me. And so I would play my flute for them. I'm like, hey guys, this is for you, and I knew they were there watching and observing. So, but yeah, I feel it's always a good idea no matter where I go, no matter who I'm going to camp. I'll introduce myself, let them know my intentions, say, this is who I am. I love you guys. I come with just respect. I'm that person that'll pick up trash. If I see trash in your home, that's who I am, kind of human, and I feel that's a good idea to go in there and introduce yourself, let them know who you are, and just be your authentic, calm self. So when you do come in to a location that, there's lots of Sasquatch, like Michelle's clan fam, they already know you're a good human, that you've introduced yourself, you're being respectful and kind. And though we didn't see them, we did find lots of cool stuff. And on my when it was time to leave camp, when we were driving down the hill, I got that. Do you ever get that ring in your ear? Or that humming sound when you've got some kind of energy with you? It was overwhelming. I was driving my car. I was right behind Michelle, following her down the mountain. And that ringing, humming sound was like overwhelming. And I heard, we saw your heart. We welcome you back. And I went, oh,
nice.
Thank you. So they were watching and observing me, just like they said. And then they let me know as we were leaving. They knew we were leaving that. But yeah, they can be quiet, but they're always there, right?
Always.
They were probably laughing at us when we were walking with our blankets that morning. Doing research, remember? That was fun.
We were walking around in the woods on trails in our blankets and it was fun.
It was barely
so much fun, doing this together. It was just like, we have to continue when doing this. That's so cool.
What are some
Definitely.
locations that you guys have in mind besides Shasta in Arizona?
Oh, we're gonna go to Sedona, Arizona next year.
We haven't really, other than these two places, we haven't really picked out any other locations yet. That's something that I'm researching right now because I'm interested in trying to find places on ley lines. I mean,
up here is on a major ley line.
Right.
right past Marquette.
I am manifesting getting out to Michigan to do research. That is, I'm doing
I'll meet up with you.
Yeah, do it. Come on, let's, help me out here.
Maybe that's one of our trips, Michelle.
Yes, absolutely. I would love that.
I really want to go to the Serpent Mounds in Ohio.
Yeah, me too.
I'm definitely feeling drawn to go there.
Yeah.
So I would love to go there sometime this summer. But
yeah.
I've always forward to this.
You ladies have a lot of projects going on.
Yeah.
A lot of plans. So that is amazing.
We do. Did you tell her about Glide, Michelle?
Oh yeah, no. So we are opening for Ronnie LeBlanc and Ryan. I'm gonna butcher his name. Golumbeski RPG at Glide Festival. So we're going on at 10:30 in the morning. And we're just going to talk for an hour. We're going to have our booth set up so people can come and, hang out with us and take selfies or whatever and, buy books and stuff. So, and then that's June 20th, right? June 20th. It's a Saturday. And that's in Glide, Oregon. And then the 21st, the next day, is when we are setting out to go to Mount Shasta. So, and Mount Shasta is 3 hours from there. So, it's not that not that far.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
that's exciting.
Excited. Yeah.
For me right now, it's more about starting the business, and I got invited to be a vendor at this at the Marquette Holistic Fair this month.
Nice.
So I'm setting up for that. I'm going to do oracle readings and tell people about my healing modality. And so, yeah, it's just different focus right now.
Yeah.
I want both of you to talk about all your stuff before we go. Michelle, you go first. What's all your stuff?
Sure. So it's called The Dream Guardian, Sasquatch, and the Path to Awakening. It's just my story. It's not anybody else's. It's just everything that it's just centered on me from the time I started having my dreams until now. And I left it open, of course, so I can add to it later. It's a beautiful book. I loved writing it. And I'm not a reader. I hate reading. So the way that I wrote it, I wrote it so it would be fun and easy to read.
We'll put that. I'll put all your stuff in the description too,
Oh.
obviously, so people can
Yeah.
find you on Facebook and they can find your book and everything. So
Yeah, Sweet Home Sasquatch and then Girls Gone Squatching are the two groups.
awesome. Randy, do you have any last parting words of wisdom?
My last parting words of wisdom would be when you're out in the forest, you're at your, wherever there's nature, there's food, there's water for the Sasquatch, more than likely there is Sasquatch there. I try and encourage people, even if you don't think they're there, because they're in your nature parks. I found that out myself. I've seen 2 in nature parks. Just, go out there, be respectful, say hello, introduce yourself. It's kind of like if somebody were to come into your house and just say, "Hi, my name is da-da-da," you've never met them before. It's the same thing. And I think it's very, very important to, when you go into someone else's research area or into the mountains, the nature parks, just introduce yourself, be respectful, be kind, and you never know. They might just reach out to you. Happened for me and I wasn't even trying. So yeah. And then this summer, I've got lots of plans with Michelle invited me onto the Sweet Home Oregon research team. So I'm part of her research team now, which I am very excited to be a part of. And we're going to be doing camping trips this summer and just having a good time.
Sasquatch
And,
Summerfest. Yeah.
oh yeah, we're going to Sasquatch
blast.
Summerfest. So we'll be there too. I'm really looking forward to that as
Awesome.
well, to, see Priscilla's museum and just meet all kinds of new people there. And, and there's Sasquatch there too. I understand. Priscilla told me that there's Sasquatch right there. So, and we're
my
going to be
God, Oak Ridge.
camping.
Yeah, Oak Ridge is it's really active.
I heard it's great. So I'm looking forward to that. I have lots of fun things that are planned this summer with Michelle and looking forward to it, and getting to know the Sasquatch people better, because that's what it's about,
Boop, boop.
So
All right.
That's it.
Awesome, ladies. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. And I guess that's it. I'm going to end this. And can you ladies hang out for a couple of minutes?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure
Everybody,
thing.
thanks for
having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Check out her book and check
Right,
out the
thank
Sweet
you.
Home Sasquatch site on Facebook and have a beautiful day. All right. Bye.